I'm Chris McDonough, a retired homicide detective. I've interviewed thousands of people, from serial killers to ministers. Welcome to the interview room. Hey, aloha, everybody. Welcome to the interview room. I'm so grateful that each of you are here this evening. And I am really excited about tonight's program. As you guys know, I've got Steve Johnson here tonight from Truth2Lies. And if you guys have not heard him, if you're new to our channel, boy, are you in for a treat. And I'm going to introduce him here in 30 seconds. But before I do that, I want to thank, first off and always our mods, for being here. Miss Sophia, Maui Girl, Mimi J2, Sophie H, and Stephanie Herb. We are so grateful as a channel and as a team. I've nicknamed all of them now as the SWAT team. They are absolutely amazing, and we are just as a family, we're always excited to have them. And then, of course, our members, not only here but on Patreon. We cannot do this without you, and for that we are very, very grateful. Karen D and I are just so appreciative of your kindness and your support. And then we don't ask for money or anything. We always appreciate having our subscribers here. So if you've not subscribed to our channel, might I ask if you could do that? We are getting really close to that 100, and would love to hit that before Dillan goes off to college here and other stuff coming up in his life. So we sure love you and appreciate. So if you could send this around to your friends and family, this video, we would be grateful for that. So let me tell you tonight about our guest, the one and only Steve Johnson. I got to tell you guys, I've been in this game a long time, as you know, but Steve is the real deal. He is an absolutely amazing human being, but he is a forensic statement analyst, and he's also a handwriting analyst. So he trains not only law enforcement on the federal and the state levels, all internationally and nationally, U.S., and he's had everybody in his classes all over the place. This guy, you're going to find out if you've not seen Steve yet or heard him, you're going to find out he is amazing. And I can't say, anything less than that, because he comes up with some insight that I hope tonight all of us will go, wow, I didn't catch that or see that. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to Mr. Steve Johnson, my buddy. Steve, what's up, bud?
Good to see you, Chris. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Oh, buddy, I am so grateful that you're able to make it tonight. You are so busy, training and just your company, and the fact that you're retired LE. And by the way, he's a little humble here, so I get to brag on him. He spent 28 years in the game, and he hasn't stopped. He's still in the game since he retired, and he trains PDs on what to look for and what to listen to, and how what's the hidden message behind the words. And so tonight we're going to hit the waterhole, right, Steve? We're going to go to the waterhole with Candus.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is going to be fun.
Tennessee waterhole. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay, so we'll do. I'll follow your lead as always, and if I come up with something which is rare to say the least of it, but if I do come up with something, I'll chime in here, and we'll do a stop. Stop go. Okay.
Right on.
Okay. So anything else before we kick this off for our great audience here?
Yeah, I think going into this, we have to keep in mind. Well, remind me, Chris, how many months after Summer disappeared did you do this interview?
It was actually less than a month. It was
less than a month.
It was around a month. Yeah.
Okay. And just prior to this, to interviewing Candus, you interviewed Hunter, and his mom was there, right?
Right. Allie and Leslie.
Yeah. Okay. So this is we have to keep that in mind, the proximity and time, 4 weeks. That's not a lot of time for a parent that has lost a child. You're still in, grieving stages if you really lost a child. And, you know what that's like, Chris. I haven't been in that situation, but I have close friends that have been there, and I've felt that grief from them as well. And I've experienced it in my career. I've seen it and dealt with those people. And that's a really tough thing to process. We as human beings, we don't process the death of our loved ones, or that they're missing, that something's wrong with them. It's hard to process the worst case scenario very fast, especially for a biological mother. Biological mothers, I call it the mother bear syndrome. They guard their young, and they don't let go of them, and physically or emotionally, psychologically, they don't let go of them. Meaning, in their language, they will continue to speak about them as if they are present, because they have a very difficult time processing. I know of a case from New York many, many years ago where a young boy he walked down from the apartment down to the bus stop, disappeared, never seen again. And the parents, even 20 years later, could not reference him in the past tense. They just could not psychologically let go of him. They kept hoping beyond hope that he was going to come back. And then that was their thought. 20 years. And they were still referencing him in the present tense. And so they just couldn't let it go. We have to keep that in mind going into this, that a biological mother, especially this close to the disappearance, she should have that perception of presence, that her daughter is all present. And so that's what we're going to look for going into this. The other thing is that we also have to keep in mind that what she says here is going to be a bit contaminated, because she has listened to the interview that Chris did with Hunter and his mom, Allie, and also other things that have been on the internet. She has listened to those things. And so what she says is by default a bit contaminated. So as we go into this, we have to kind of weed through the contamination. In other words, what is she responding to that is it a contamination response? And if so, we take that into consideration, but we also at the same time have to consider, is this, regardless of the contamination, is her response one that is appropriate for a grieving mother? And so there's a lot of moving parts, as Chris says. There's a lot of little nuances and things that we have to take into consideration as we go through this. So just know that anything that we call out tonight, there's a lot of moving parts involved, and so we'll take all that into consideration as we go along.
Awesome. So while we got a moment before we also get into this, tell everybody about Truth2Lies, and so that I know citizens can actually take your courses and stuff. So let's kind of get that out front here. You guys train not only LE, and that's a whole different class, but you also have a citizens and corporate side too, right? To your company.
Yeah, that's a new thing actually, and it's really exciting. When I started this, I was training people before I left the PD, and the way I got into that is because I was using this at work, and I was using it for my department and other agencies, and it just kind of started expanding out beyond the state I was in, and it was so effective. It was just this shift in the way that we do investigations and the effectiveness, and it was my goodness, it was I didn't there was nothing better, and I wanted every investigator to know it. And so like Chris said, you said in the beginning, Chris, I'm still in the game. I'm in the game because this is the most effective technique that I ever used in my entire career, and I still haven't found anything better. So I started training law enforcement, military, criminal investigators, and just recently I've opened it up to civilians as well. So everybody listening, you are welcome to take the online course. A lot of my in-person courses or classes are they're at law enforcement agencies. They're still limited to law enforcement for the most part. We have a few corporate investigators and a few others, but they're professional investigators that come into those classes. So the good thing is I have the class online, and it is in front of a law enforcement audience. That class, I've been getting such good feedback from that class. It has the feel of being in the classroom with us. And so you are actually, when you take that online class, you're actually learning everything that I teach to law enforcement. I'm not holding back. And we use real case scenarios, real case examples, and I give you exercises to go through so that when you leave that class, you have a good grasp on how to use this, not only in written format, but listening to people on the fly. And I mean, I've had people in the class say that it changed them so much. They listen to people even at church, and it they can tell when they're being deceptive, and major personality traits and things that they've been through, their experiences, and it's just an amazing and amazingly effective tool. And so it's available to everyone right now. I can't tell you what a blessing it is to be able to be involved in something like this. We're solving cases all the time. I'm consulting with agencies and corporations. Like Chris says, I'm busy doing that, but training people is where my heart is. I love seeing others to be able to put it into action. So there's no better online course to learn anything like this. And if you haven't heard it before, you're going to hear tonight what we can do. And I'm telling you, log into that course. One other thing, here in the next couple of weeks, I will have a small mini course available. I'm really excited about it. It's going to be well under $100. It's way cheaper than that. And it'll be the essentials of everything you need to know. That's going to be the essentials course for those that don't want to take the full course. But man, you're going to learn a lot. So I'm excited to launch that. If you want to know when that's going to launch, go to my website. It's at the bottom of the screen there, and just subscribe or go and download the PDF. I have a free PDF at the bottom of my homepage, download that. You'll be on my list. You can unsubscribe anytime if you don't like it. But you'll get the announcement when that mini course is going to come out, and it's going to be super affordable for everybody. So it'll come with some perks. So you're not going to want to miss that. Thanks, Chris. I really appreciate you letting me tell everyone about that. So I guess we lost Chris. That's happened once before that we lost him. Hey, so let me tell you what I know about this case going into Candus's interview tonight. Candus, she and her husband, and I hope everyone, if you haven't had the chance to look at the prior interviews that we did with her husband, Don Wells, we broke down the interview that Chris did with Don Wells, and that is very, very insightful. So if you haven't had the opportunity, when you get a chance, go back and listen to that breakdown. And we take the totality of things, and with the totality of what Don revealed without knowing it, and what Candus is going to reveal without knowing it, it is super insightful. There really is no better way to literally, I call it crawling up into a person's mind. What happens is when Candus experienced something, if she really experienced it, there's going to be this neuron connection. There's all kinds of things that go on in the brain, these neuron connections, and all her senses and everything comes together. It connects these neurons, and it creates this memory that's cemented in her brain. And as such, when she recalls that event that she experienced, she will be able to recall it very simple. It'll be very easy to recall, because there's even hormones that are released through the body when we experience something. So when she recounts it, all this stuff is coming back into play. Hey, Dillan.
Hey, guys. Sorry about Chris. We're working on getting him back in right now.
Right on. Well, I'll just keep explaining what's going on until he comes back on. So when we experience something, it's very easy to recall. When we try to manufacture an experience that didn't happen, we now have to manufacture all those little things, those nuances that are going on in the brain. And we can't do it without giving away signs of deception. There's just no way to do it. And there's a lot of different things that happen in our language. The brain is designed by default to tell the truth. And if you think about that, it's the way we were created. And if we're created to tell the truth, whenever we don't, the brain knows, and it feels this stress. And that stress then is transcended through the rest of our body, and it comes out in the actions, and more importantly, in our words. And so it shows up in our handwriting and all different kinds of ways. That's how the polygraph test works. It's how the voice stress analysis test works, because our body responds physiologically to the stress that we feel when we go contrary to how we were created to operate, which is to tell the truth. And so it's very fascinating when you understand the linguistic signals that the brain gives away when it actually goes in defiance of the way it was created. In other words, when it feels that stress from deception, there will be many, many signals of deception in many different ways in the language. And so anyway, it's really fascinating. And we see this not only in criminal investigations, but in everyday life. I mean, when I first started putting this together in my own life, I was seeing things that my neighbors were saying as well. So, hey, Chris, good to have you back.
Hey, You know what? That's the other thing I love about you, buddy. You can carry a show. So everybody, let's get Steve a YouTube channel, shall we? Okay, so let me tee up this. Are you ready? Because
Yeah, I'm ready. That was a
happened.
perfect segue. I just briefed them. So
This is like the third time I've had this hotspot just drop out of nowhere. I've got 4 bars of 5G. It just decides to go on vacation. Okay. Anyway, that said, let me tee this up to the spot where we're going to start. Okay, so hang on.
I'm Chris McDonough.
Bracelets and jewelry.
Okay, are we ready, Steve?
let's do it, Chris.
Okay, bud. So here we go. You give me the word and I'll stop it.
Okay.
And welcome all 38.
Some woman made this shirt for me. I'm not sure exactly what her name is.
And tell me the significance of this shirt. Why is it so important?
Because my daughter loved Paw Patrol.
Okay. Yeah, she did Paw Patrol. What else? Princesses.
Ponies
Stop
and
right there, Chris.
Go.
I don't know if you all noticed that, but Chris asked, what's the importance of that shirt or something to that effect? And she just referenced summer in the past tense. She says, because my daughter loved whatever it was, Paw Patrol or whatever it was. That's a past tense reference. And it's right in the beginning of this interview. I am now on alert. That's a red flag for me because, like I said earlier, the mama bear syndrome. Mama bears do not give up hope. They do not process quickly at all. Men will process quicker than the women will. But the mamas, biological mothers, they will not process that their baby is not coming back. And when she references her in the past tense, that is a signal that she has processed. She has reason to know or reason to believe that her baby is not coming back. Chris, that violates human nature. Human nature, I mean, these are the women were created as the nurturers. They're the mothers for a reason, and they're given all these gifts and traits as a mother, and they hang on. It's the mother bear syndrome. They do not let go. So this is a violation of that. And so now I'm on high alert. Now, later on, we're going to hear her reference summer in the present tense. And I get it, but it shouldn't have happened. And especially this soon. So it's even more important in the context of this that it happened right away. If Candus has any guilty knowledge at all, she's going to go through this interview, and there are things that she has a story and she's going to want to tell it to you. And so I expect present tense reference. I expect to hear a lot of things, but what they don't realize is that these little things like these are the clues for us. And right away we had a past tense reference. So big red flag right there, Chris.
Right from the get-go, out of the gate.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
she loved Frozen. Then she started with they're little animals, but I'm not sure what they are. And they got big eyeballs. I can't remember what the name of them are. I got a couple on my window.
Are they like little, they got like the big eyes, that kind of thing?
Yeah, they got the big eyes.
Yeah.
She likes bracelets and jewelry, and she's just a round girl.
Yeah, yeah. So let's take me back to that day when y'all were here swimming.
Okay.
You okay with that? Okay. So let's walk me down. Is this where you parked?
Yeah, this is where I park.
Now, when I asked her, are you okay with that? You notice she didn't answer. She just gave me the head nod. What are your thoughts on that?
And what that tells me, and I think that's what you're getting at too, is that she's kind of stuck. I mean, she didn't have to volunteer to do this, but she really needs to do this if for a number of different reasons. But I think she's a little reticent about doing it.
Park here all the time.
All the time. And now, do you come here a lot?
I used to come here a lot. Yeah.
And do you bring the kids here?
I'd bring the kids here all the time, and they'd either fish or swim,
Okay.
whichever.
Right.
It's there's nobody down here hardly.
Right.
So it's away from. I don't like to have the kids around a bunch of other kids because of all the sickness and stuff that's been going around, different kids and stuff like that.
Yep.
So this was more secluded, private kind of thing, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, it makes sense. That makes sense.
I'm more of a quiet kind of person. I don't like to be in a big crowd.
Yeah.
I tend to stick to myself and my family, and that's it.
Yeah. And when you guys got here, who was with you? There's a lot of rumors
my
about.
My mother was with me.
Yep.
And my daughter.
Yep.
Summer, and Hunter was with us.
Okay. Now, tell me about the dynamics of what everybody was doing. Who was doing what when you first got here? What happened?
I got out of the car first, and then I opened the back door because my mom's got a double door on her truck.
Right.
So I opened the back door and I let her and Hunter out.
Okay.
And Summer's first thing is to run to the water, of course.
Right.
And I was like, Summer, just wait, let me get my stuff and I'll walk over there with you. And she waited for me, and I don't know, Hunter went off into the woods somewhere. I don't know where he went.
Now, where was Summer sitting?
She was sitting in the middle seat.
Okay.
Hunter was sitting on the end.
All right, so a couple things here. She mentioned that she opened the back door and let Mom and Hunter out, but there was no. I already see this distancing, which I don't like from Summer. The context is Summer's missing, and Summer should be the one that is just flooding her mind, flooding her memory. And when who did she let out? She let Mom and Hunter out. And that's all she says she let out. What about letting Summer out? And it sounds like a small thing, but this is her distancing from Summer in the context. I should hear that Summer is most important. So a couple other things. She had to think about. Chris asked, well, where? He asked about the location in the car of where people were sitting, and she had to think about where Summer was sitting. And you know, a grieving parent is going to rehash and rethink and go through all the last moments of that day, and have very fond memories, and because that's the last time that they were with their little girl. And it's just a small thing. I'm not making a big deal out of it, but I find it unusual that she actually had to hesitate and pause to think about where Summer was sitting. Okay. Now, one more thing. She didn't say that she let Summer out. And then what she did is she said, Summer's first thing, of course, is to run to the water. Okay. This is what Summer normally does. She didn't say Summer ran right to the water, or Summer got out of the car and ran towards the water, or anything like that. It was what Summer normally does. And it was also, it's a subtle, I hesitate to say this, but it could be, let me just say that it could be a subtle denigration of Summer, that Summer doesn't wait, or maybe not, but it's still something that I noticed, and I take note of it, and I look to see if maybe there's something else later on that might back that up or make me take that off the table completely. But what I do know is that she stated what Summer normally does, not what she did that day. And that on the heels of not mentioning letting Summer out of the car. It's a distancing language. And so another red flag for me, I don't like to hear it.
Yeah, Steve, I think she mumbled, I let Mom, Hunter, and Summer. I think she did mention that she got out of the car, but where your point, and I love where you're going with this, is the thought process of where she was at in the car in relationship to, her missing at that. She kind of mumbled it because I remember, and I could play it back again, but it wasn't real.
No need. Yeah, if you heard it, then great, and that's what I need, because otherwise I didn't like it. But if you heard it, then it's there.
Yeah, no, you can't hear it real clearly. She puts it all together pretty quickly.
Okay.
So, I think later on.
Then take that off the table.
Okay.
What we do have is we have her saying Summer's first thing is to run to the water.
Right.
That's the normalization going on there.
Yeah.
And it's still distancing language that it's not what Summer did. It's just what she normally does. And we might hear more of that later on.
Right. Exactly. So I think you're right on target though.
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay. Here we go.
Okay.
And my mom said, hold on a minute. So we waited for my mom to get out.
Okay.
Now that's interesting because she let her mom out.
Right.
And now her mom's back in the car.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. She's out of chronological order.
Yeah.
And so that tells me that there's this glitch in the speedy process of the brain. And remember what I was saying in the beginning, when there's experiential memory at play and in the language, our brain can recall that forwards and backwards in chronological order, because all those things that have taken place in our brain and our body, the chemical release and the hormones, the neuron connections, all that is at play. And therefore, for us to recall is very simple, because our body and our brain knows it, and it's very easy to recall it. If it really didn't happen that way, little things like that, what you're hearing here, will come up. The brain will normalize things as it's kind of a convincing type statement. It will go out of chronological order and sequence. And so, yeah, it's another red flag.
Yeah. And let me move.
And Hunter, he just done disappeared into the woods. I don't know where he went.
Okay. Okay.
And me and my mom and Summer walked over there, and we were just letting Summer play, and then Hunter eventually come back out of the woods wherever he was.
Okay.
And
so let's walk over there. Show me. And I'll just follow you, okay?
No.
I'll follow you on which direction. And
everything's slow motion now.
I know. So which direction does Hunter go?
He went that way.
He went that way. Now, was he in a bathing suit?
No, I think he just had his shorts and his shirt on.
Okay, and Summer, was she in her bathing suit?
Yes.
And how did she get in her bathing suit? Or?
I actually put her bathing suit on before we left home because it was really hot out that day.
Okay.
Did you want to think anything of that?
Yeah, thank you. I do. Anytime I hear what we call dependent words, like the word actually, I know that there's an alternative thought. So she said, I actually put her bathing suit on before we left because, and she gave us a reason why she did it without being asked. And so now I find more sensitivity in her language because she's offering a reason for doing something rather than just stating what she did. Think about the difference. I actually put her bathing suit on before we left because whatever the reason was, it was really hot that day, whatever she said, versus I put her bathing suit on before we left. Very simple, just because that's what she did. No explanation necessary. And so here I have her giving us unnecessary extra information that took more cognitive effort more time. And when I hear things like this, I put that over in the box of, this is likely a need to persuade, and persuasion takes more effort, more cognitive effort to do, and more time to do. Remember what I said in the beginning, that when we recall something that is experiential, it is concise, simple, and to the point for the most part. And in this particular case, we don't have that. So now more in the persuasion column right here.
Okay. And guys, if you're just joining with us, we have Steve Johnson from Truth2Lies. As you can tell, we're analyzing, or Steve's, taking a look at this statement down at the waterhole. We know, I mean, we can go back and play, the hunter Candus, or excuse me, the hunter mom, Summer thought. We're past that already. Steve's past that. We acknowledge. If you need to hear it again, please go back. We want to keep moving forward here, I think we're getting into some really good stuff here that struck me a while ago, and I know it struck Steve because, he commented about it with me in here. So here we go.
So it was just something small and then not so hot.
Okay.
Because I know how she gets too hot.
Okay. And what was the temperature that day? Give me an idea.
Probably in the 80s.
Okay. So it's Tennessee warm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it is now.
And are you an air-conditioned person, or in your mom's truck was the AC on or
I
off?
don't like AC.
Okay. So what happened? Where do you guys go, and where's Summer going here?
We all walked down this path, me, my mom, and Summer.
All right. So all three of you together.
Yeah.
Now, how does Mom's knee handle this hill here?
Well, she uses her cane, so it's a little bit easier, and she'll hold on to my shoulder so she doesn't fall or nothing.
So you're kind of escorting her down here.
Yeah.
And is Summer ahead of you or behind you?
She's right here in front of me.
Okay. So walk me through that.
Oh, we're just walking down through here. I mean, usually, like I said, we go slow because of my mom's knee.
Okay.
Messed up.
Okay.
I was just standing here at the end, and then, well, the water's up a lot further than it usually is. Usually it's down. You can usually see all that wood sticking up all the water. And she was just playing right here.
And what time do you get here about, if you remember?
I couldn't even tell you, to be honest with you. Time is... I don't keep track of time.
No, I understand.
I mean, I get up in the morning, I do my thing with the kids, and then...
What's your thought?
Okay.
There's a lot going here. I know there is in your mind.
What she's doing here is she's giving you an excuse of why she is going to skip over time. Time equates to information. So she's giving you excuses of why she's going to skip information. For whatever reason, she doesn't want to tell you. She says, I don't keep track of time. I get up in the morning, I do my thing with the kids, and then we go to bed. Wow, that's like skipping the whole day. And keep in mind what she just said. I get up in the morning, I do my thing with the kids, and then we go to bed. Again, this is what she normally does. She's not saying what she did that day. And so here I have now, I'm stacking these things, and here I have another one stacked onto the normalization. She's normalizing this day, and I'm on high alert when they do that. I don't want to hear that. I want to hear just what happened that day, and I don't want to hear her skipping information, skipping over time. That's what she's doing here. She's laying the foundation that she is going to be able to skip over information for that day. It's a big deal. It's a really big deal.
Now, wasn't this when she was walking towards the path? This is when things started to slow down too, right? Didn't if I remember, this is the part.
Everything's in slow motion.
Yeah. I go? Let me go back and see if I can find that real fast.
Okay.
I don't want to go too far.
Yes.
And how did she get in her bathing suit? Or
I actually put her bathing suit on before we left home because it was really hot out that day.
okay,
And Hunter, he just done disappeared into the woods. I don't know where he went.
okay, okay.
And me and my mom and Summer walked over there, and we were just letting Summer play, and then Hunter eventually come back out of the woods wherever he was.
Okay.
And
So let's walk over there. Show me. And I'll just follow you, okay?
No.
I'll follow you on which direction. And
everything's slow motion now.
I know.
Right there. Everything's in slow motion now. Thoughts?
Yeah, very, very similar to this. We call this. She's slowing down the pace. We call it. So psychologically, she's slowing this down. She, for whatever reason, does not want to get to the waterhole. Her brain is slowing this down, and this is very similar to what you said earlier when we called out her hesitation about even going through the day with you and going down to the waterhole and explaining what's going on, and you pointed out that she really, all she would do is nod. She didn't verbally agree to it or acknowledge that she wanted to do that. And so this is just an extenuation of that. I know we've talked about carryover stress before. She's feeling stress, and this is a continuation or a carryover of that stress right from the beginning that was introduced, that she felt just from you asking that simple question about going through the events, and there was some stress, and that she didn't verbalize it. It's much easier for someone just to nod than it is to verbally say yes, or give a confession. We see this in confessions a lot. It's easier for someone just to go than it is to say, yes, I did it. And so it's very similar to that. And so this is a continuation of that stress and slowing down, not wanting to get to the events of the waterhole for whatever reason. I don't know what happened at the waterhole, but I do know that psychologically it appears at this point that she doesn't want to get there. She'd rather talk about other things than actually what happened with Summer.
Yeah, that's a really great point. And to dovetail into that body language positioning that you just put verbiage into it. We just had an example of her. Well, let's go, and she kind of does one of those, and in this thing now she goes the opposite way because of the carryover. Yeah, I'm tracking.
It's fascinating.
Yeah,
fascinating.
I'm tracking where you're headed here. So she consciously knows, that she has both of those options available to her. I mean, but unconsciously her body's kicking it out, right?
Correct.
That's what you're saying.
And that's her brain at work. That's the beauty of this, is that the brain has all this information, and it is designed to protect all of us, her, you, and I, from stress and from danger, from this any stress that's involved in that. And so what it's doing is we don't even realize we do it, but we will do things like that. We'll kick back our head like it's almost as if I'd rather go that way than forward. And so it's just fascinating what the brain will do physically and verbally.
Yeah, and then we're gonna go. I'm gonna keep playing this, and then as we're going down the path, she's commenting about her mom pretty quickly after I said, well, how does your mom, manipulate this path here? Basically, I'm paraphrasing, but we'll hear it here in a second. And we'll get down to the waterhole where we were just at here in a second. But stop me in between if there's something you catch.
So which direction does Hunter go?
He went that way.
He went that way. Now, was he in a bathing suit?
No, I think he just had his shorts and his shirt on.
Okay, and Summer, was she in her bathing suit?
Yes.
And how did she get in her bathing suit? Or?
I actually put her bathing suit on before we left home because it was really hot out that day.
Okay.
So it was just something small and then not so hot.
Okay, okay.
Because I know how she gets too hot.
Okay. And what was the temperature that day? Give me an idea.
Now, she never I don't think I just heard her physically say she put her in a bathing suit. She just said something small because she gets hot. Okay. Now, because there's a TikTok video of her in a pair of shorts and a shirt, but then later she's in almost like a long sleeve little light windbreaker / outfit that she was going to wear, for her first day of school. So I think this is still a mystery on this bathing suit thing. And what say you if there's anything into that, Steve, from your?
I don't have much to add to that. There's definitely something there because she's more than once, I think twice, if not 3 times, she provided a reason for putting her in that bathing suit without being asked. And that tells me there's high sensitivity there about that. For whatever reason, I don't know what it is. I can't say. I just know that there's sensitivity in that area. So it's interesting that we both picked that up. We haven't discussed this. We just both recognize that there's sensitivity there about that.
Yeah, and that's where you said the I actually
right.
became pretty significant. Okay.
Correct.
Probably in the 80s.
Okay. So is Tennessee warm?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's like it is now.
And are you an air-conditioned person, or in your mom's truck was the AC on? Or
I don't like AC.
Okay, okay. So what happened? Where do you guys go, and where's Summer going here?
We all walked down this path, me, my mom, and Summer.
All right. So all 3 of you together.
Yeah.
Now, how does Mom's knee handle this hill here?
Well, she uses her cane, so it's a little bit easier, and she'll hold on to my shoulder so
okay.
she doesn't fall or nothing.
So you're kind of escorting her down here.
Yeah.
And is Summer ahead of you or behind you?
She's right here in front of me.
Okay. So walk me through that.
Oh, we're just walking down through here. I mean, usually, like I said, we go slow because of my mom's knee.
Okay.
Messed up.
Okay.
I was just standing here at the end, and then, well, the water's up a lot further than it usually is. Usually it's down. You can usually see all that wood sticking up all the water. And she was just playing right here.
And what time do you get here about, if you remember?
I couldn't even tell you, to be honest with you. Time is... I don't keep track of time.
No, I understand.
I mean, I get up in the morning, I do my thing with the kids, and then we go to bed.
Okay.
I couldn't even tell you. I know I went to the hospital at 8 with my mom, dropped her off, and I was sitting there, and Hunter called me and asked me what I was doing. I said I was sitting at the hospital in the parking lot waiting on my mom to get done. And he said, well, why don't you all come over? I said, well, as long as your mom says it's okay. And I guess he woke her up or said something to her, and he said, yeah, she said it's fine for a little bit, because I guess his grandma was coming over or something. She don't like it.
Okay, I have a little note here. Your thoughts on this?
Well, on which part?
So, yeah, I know, right?
I'm going to back up a little bit because
okay,
what she said earlier about time, she said, I don't keep track of time. And then you notice that she said, well, at 8 o'clock, I was at the hospital, or something that I'm paraphrasing. Yeah. But she had a specific time. And you'll see throughout the rest of her interview, she gives specific times, and she will also reference, I was in the store for 5 minutes, 2 minutes, whatever it was. And so she does keep track of time. But so this reinforces what I was saying earlier about there's information that she wants to skip over. And it's that need to skip that information is strong enough that she is telling you right now, she's hoping that you'll buy it, that I don't keep track of time, so I can't give you all the information. I can't give you the times, and I'm going to be skipping over time because I don't keep track of it. And so I know now for sure that there's things that occurred here that she doesn't want to tell you. Okay.
So this missing time is really an excuse to leave out information. That's what you're saying.
That's what it is. Exactly.
Yeah. Interesting. So, and do you think that, you know, the innocuous information, you know, just to focus on the unimportant is a moves away from focusing on Summer and other
Yeah.
information that would be relevant?
Yeah, exactly. And that reminds me, I had a note later on that overall what she does is she will focus on, and this is very, very typical when somebody wants to when they want to skip over an event, but yet they still want to be truthful, because remember our brain's default setting is to tell the truth. And when we go contrary to that, it creates stress. And so what our brain will do, it will send the signal to focus on superfluous, truthful information. And people will start talking about all kinds of truthful little things that occurred, but then they will, and that's what we call slowing the pace, which I talked about earlier. She's slowing the pace by talking about all this, the truthful information that is unnecessary to mention. It really has no bearing, and they will then skip over what is most important here. What was Summer doing? What happened with Summer? All the little events about Summer, what Summer said, how she was acting. I haven't heard a lot about Summer, and already here we're getting into what Hunter was doing, and more about Hunter than Summer. And so she's really now in this category of not telling me everything, withholding information. The interesting thing, Chris, is that most people, because they feel stress when they are deceptive, they won't actually tell an outright lie. Sometimes they do, and a lot of people do. And I know a lot of people are going, "What? You're crazy, Steve." Of course, people tell an outright lie. What I'm saying is that they may tell an outright lie, but there's stress involved with it, and they will back it up with other information to make sure that we believe it. And that's the giveaway. It's just they can't live with they can't just let the lie itself lay there by itself. They have to back it up. And that's kind of what Candus is doing here. She's and let me back up just one little bit more. Most deception is in the form of withholding information. That's the highest. That's what we see most, is people withholding information. That's how they're deceptive. But we as human beings, we miss that, because the person that's speaking, Candus in this case, will give us all kinds of information that is true, little things that are true. And so because she's speaking what's true, and that may be what they normally do or usually do, and which is not speaking about that particular day, but still it's truthful information. And so the deception gets hidden or disguised within all the truthful information. So when I hear this type of language, I am on high alert.
Fascinating. And you have a YouTube channel too, right, Steve? Right? It's down at the
Yeah,
bottom.
I do have a YouTube channel. I just started it. I don't have a lot on there right now.
So
I'm
everybody
gonna
go
be putting some
slam
more
that
stuff on
subscribe
there.
button when we're done here. Let's get him
Yeah, that would
going.
be cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be great. Okay, so I want to keep moving because I've got a couple more of your notes here that you sent me that you wanted to point out.
I don't like her either.
Okay.
That's true.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean,
Now this is the part where, you know, she's hammering on Allie and Hunter And Hunter said that, Summer had come in the home and changed into a bathing suit, and that Allie was asleep when that happened. So she's saying that, Candus is saying, no, she did it at her house. So there's kind of that's still a red herring out there somewhere. There's a lot of misinformation about that.
Seems like you guys have had a falling out. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
And
it was stupid part on Al, really honest.
What was it over?
Well, I don't know if it was her husband or Hunter's. I'm just gonna say Hunter's daddy. Come out with all these guys.
Okay, so I have a question for you. We're down there. Her daughter's missing, and she's talking about relationships between Allie and just other different people here. What strikes you? And I know this is kind of a knuckleball coming your way, but you've been in this game a long time as well. And what jumps at you, if anything, at this part of the game here? I mean, she's sitting there or standing there, and now she's talking about a relationship with Allie, about how things have kind of fallen apart. And that's a whole nother, right out of Central Casting, that group of characters. But you know what I mean? You know where I'm going there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so, but I just thought, and I didn't let on to it, obviously, right? You've been there, done that.
Yeah.
But, she starts chatting about her relationship with Allie and wishing it hadn't fallen apart. It had not fallen apart. Yet I'm talking about her daughter, Summer, right? What say you?
Yeah, excellent point. So what I expect to hear from mom is complete focus on Summer. It has only been 4 weeks, and so in her opinion, what she has given to reporters before this, and then to you later on in this interview, is that she believes that Summer was taken from the home and that someone is holding her. Okay, so what I expect to hear is what I hope that Summer's being taken care of. I hope that she is fed. I hope she has her favorite toys. I hope that they've given her a blanket, that they're keeping her warm. That she said she doesn't like. Well, later on she's going to say something about her not liking the cold or windows down or something like that. So I hope that they're cognizant of that. That she has her medication if she needs any medicines or whatever it is that Summer needs. 5-year-old kids have a lot of needs, and mother should be focused on all those things. I haven't heard any of that. I'm hearing more conversation about Hunter and Allie and mom's needs, mom's wants, not regarding Summer, but regarding this relationship with Allie. And then later we're going to hear more. And for me, it's mind blowing that how can you even be focused on this stuff?
Well, and that was interesting because that's why I asked her. I said, how did this, unfold, and why was Allie, so significant there? And I thought I was going to hear, I don't care about Allie, okay, and kind of refocus it back into Summer. I mean, so it was kind of a knuckleball that I threw at her to see where she was going to go with it, and it just struck me that she took it. And then she took it not only with Allie, she took it into this relationship that Allie was having with a guy that, kind of stretched this whole thing into a different atmosphere when we're standing there talking about her daughter.
Yeah.
I don't know. Am I misreading that, Steve? I mean,
no, that's a big red flag, Chris. And I'm so glad that you asked that question that you did, because what we got here is a major piece of the psyche of Candus's psyche, what's going on in her brain and what's most important. And it is falling outside of that, of human nature, of that mother bear syndrome that we expect to be in play here, and it's clearly not. And so what I do when I'm analyzing these types of cases is I note it, and I'm gonna look as we go through to see if this continues, or I'm hoping that this will change in the interview. I'm looking for that some kind of change, that there was just something about this has some kind of other importance that maybe ties in somewhere down the road, and this is going to change, and we're going to start hearing a lot more about Summer. But at this point in the interview, I'm not hearing it. I don't like it. It's not appropriate. It defies human nature. And so what it does tell me is that she is more in this category of withholding information, need to persuade, need to talk about everything else except for Summer. For why? I don't know. But for whatever reason, she's distancing herself from whatever happened with Summer, and that's not good. More red flags.
Yeah, I mean, how many times, right? Have we been in the room, and you've had that subject sitting there, and they just look at you like, dude, what does he have to do with any of this? I thought we were talking about A, B, C, and D.
Okay? Right.
And so I was waiting for that moment. So it didn't come. So I just stayed on that path and let it drive itself. Because what's the other saying, right? This becomes evidence. You haven't lived till you've seen your words blown up on, big boards in front of a jury, right?
Correct. Right. You did the right thing. Your interview is impressive, and you did the right thing. So it's her. She can say anything.
Yeah.
And that's what you're just kind of laying it out there for her and giving her the opportunity to speak as to what is most important in her brain. And she's given you her perception of reality at that time. And her perception of reality is that she's more focused on other things than Summer. So yeah, huge red flag.
Okay, I'm going to keep moving, brother.
Stuff, and we're supposed to move down here, and they couldn't find a place to stay or whatever. Well, I don't really remember what this guy's name was. I know he's a Mexican, I think. And
that Jose guy?
Yeah,
is that right?
Yeah, she wanted him to stay, and she was also staying at my house.
Okay.
So I said, well, if you're going to be with him, that's fine. You know what I'm saying? That's fine. That's y'all's deal.
And that's, she wanted him to stay, and she was also staying at my house. So, I guess that relationship, and I mentioned this on another stream, that relationship apparently went sideways pretty quickly over this character, allegedly. So,
and I don't know, they did whatever they did because I didn't really pay attention to them. I just hung out with the kids and my mom. And then one day he just goes, I like chicks with dicks. After him and her did whatever. And she got all pissed off and just said, told my mom, take me and my kids back to my place. I'm out of here. So I don't even...
What does this have to do with Summer? Right?
This is more important to her than Summer. And I like, it's even more significant, Chris, that you have her standing right at the waterhole, facing the water where she just said her daughter was swimming right out there in front of her, and that should be the picture in her mind, and yet she is so focused the other way.
Yeah, which is interesting because that goes in direct conflict with everything slowing down.
You're right.
Absolutely. I was hoping to hear, when we got down there, to your point, Steve, that, her positioning there, and she positioned there at first. I later repositioned, kind of keeping her focused on the water. And man, it just got really pretty interesting. At one point, she did break down, and what's the old saying? Go for the snot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. For those of you joining us, Steve and I are both, old homicide guys. So when we say that, what we mean by that is the interview becomes so emotional for the suspect or the subject. They cry so hard that, you know, their whole system just starts to drain. And so in this case, she was that close. She was that close. I mean, I really mean it. And from something else to your what you were talking about, something else was there she wanted to say. So I'm going to keep moving for the sake of time here.
Yeah.
You know what really happened.
Okay.
She just went off the handle. And ever since that, I don't know, she's just been hateful towards me. And I don't know, I don't get it.
Okay.
I really wish I could understand it.
Okay.
And she stuck me with that guy. And then my husband got home. He's like, well, who's this guy, you know? And I'm like, Allie left him here, abandoned him here. I was like, he ain't got no place to go. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then my mom took him after my husband and him got into a little squirrel. My mom took him, I believe it was to North Carolina to some chick's house. And then that was the end of him. I never heard from him again.
And that, so your mom drove him up there?
Yeah, my mom did.
Okay.
And I never heard from the guy again.
What part of North Carolina, do you know?
I don't even know.
Okay. What kind of vehicle did he have, if any?
He didn't have no vehicle.
Okay. But your mom took him
My
up?
mom took him in her truck.
Got it. Straight up. Okay. Then, so you're down here, and all of a sudden now, Summer is doing what?
Summer's just playing in the water right here.
Okay.
I'm just standing right here. Well, the flowers that died that were there on that.
Oh, so there were a bunch of flowers here?
There's a bunch of flowers right here, yeah, on this little petal. I don't know what, I guess they've all died now, but.
Okay. And where's Grandma?
Mom's standing right here.
Okay.
And I'm over here close to the edge just because Summer's in the water, you know what I'm saying? That's my thing.
Okay.
And she's just playing, you know, like a normal kid would play in the water.
Okay. Normal kid. What do you think?
Yeah. So this is what I said earlier about her normalizing the day. I don't like what I'm hearing here, because she said she's just playing like any normal kid would play in the water. And why that took extra effort. Why the need to say or to add in the words like any normal kid would play? Why not just say Summer was playing in the water right here? And she's pointing to it and reliving it. Summer was playing in the water. Why normalize it? Why say like any normal kid would play? It tells me that, again, she has a need to normalize this. Like, it avoids saying what actually was occurring. There was something else going on. I don't like it. We hear this most often when people want to hide what actually was happening that day. And in this case, at that particular time, when Summer was in the water, whatever it was, there's something that was out of the norm. And that's what produces that type of language in a situation like this, in the context of something like this, when she normalizes it. There's a big difference in she was just playing like any normal kid would play in the water versus Summer was playing in the water. Very short, concise, simple, to the point. Takes more effort, and that's typically convincing language, a convincing statement, if you will.
Yeah, so that takes additional, you know, to use your words, cognitive effort, right?
Correct.
To think through that.
Correct.
And do you think is she shooting from the hip, or is she processing?
No, I think that she well, she's shooting from the hip. In a way, she's shooting from the hip, because if it's something that is experiential, the words come out very concise and simple. It's just we can recall it, and we just say simply, Summer was playing in the water right here, and then that's it. We don't have to back up what we say. We don't have to justify or explain why Summer was playing in the water. And I'll go even a step further here. Candus said just before this, she said, I was standing right here And she gives us a reason as to why she was standing right here. She wants you to believe she was standing right there because Summer was in the water. And so I had to be right here. In other words, I can't believe that she was actually standing right there because she didn't say, let me just say this. If your 5-year-old kid is in the water, you don't even have to say that you're standing right there by the edge of the water. I know that my wife her feet would be in the water. I don't even have to ask, because if a 5-year-old is in the water right there, man, Mama Bear is going to be making sure that her daughter, her baby girl, is not going to drown, that nothing's going to happen to her. And so guarantee you, my Mama Bear watching the kids or the grandkids or any other kid for that matter, she is going to be at least feet in the water, if not knee deep in the water. I don't even have to ask. I know. And I know a lot of other mothers are going to be right there on edge. They want their kids to have fun, but they don't have to tell me that they're right there at the edge of the water. I know it. I don't have to ask. But for whatever reason, Candus had to give us a reason for being at the edge of the water. And that tells me, wow, why does she have a need to persuade me that she was at the edge of the water? It tells me, I don't think that there's a good chance that she actually wasn't, that there was something else going on, whether it was with Hunter or Mom. She's picking the flowers and had her back to Summer when she shouldn't have. Accidents happen. This is how accidents happen. And everybody makes mistakes. Think we do things that we shouldn't have done. We all make mistakes. That's human nature. And something could have happened, a mistake. But she wants to convince me that she's right there at the edge of the water. So now I question it, Chris. I question, just because of the sensitivity in her language, her brain is letting me know something's at play here that's not quite right.
Yeah, and there was also, whenever there's a police incident, it's just a little squabble, right?
Right.
with a police report. Okay, so yeah, no, this is, and by the way, we get the fact that people talk and cognitively think differently, and I've lived in both Texas. I was born in North Carolina. I lived in Tennessee. We get it. Okay. I get it. Okay. So, and, worked in California with those, some of those things. So it's not about whether somebody uses a word appropriately or inappropriate, or they say y'all or got gone, or, she disappeared, or, she was whatever taken. It's how they present that analysis, or those words, right, Steve? I mean, that's kind of what we're seeing here.
Right. It's what they're revealing is their perception of reality.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're looking at. What's her perception of reality? What's her linguistic disposition towards Summer versus her linguistic disposition towards Mom and Hunter and Allie and Jose and the other people around her? We take the totality of it. What's going on in the brain that would produce those words at the time that it did, and in the way that it did, and why aren't other words present that we would expect in this type of situation? We take it all into context. We're not calling out any particular thing and hanging our hat on just one thing. We're going to look at the whole picture, and we take note of all these little things, and we may take it off the table later on, because the language oftentimes will, the perception of reality will change, and it will give us clarity for what we were looking at earlier and maybe questioning. And so I don't have a problem taking something off the table, but I'm gonna note and call out these things, and when they are in violation of human nature, especially mother as a biological mother, and knowing from years of dealing with mothers that have lost children and for whatever reason, missing person cases, deaths, whatever, we know what that is. We know what to expect from a biological mother in this type of situation. And so this is across the board. I don't care where you are, what country you live on, what language you speak, mothers will act the same way. And that's why we call this the mother bear syndrome. That's human nature. And so, yeah, we're not hanging our hat on any one particular thing, but we are definitely going to call those things out.
Yep. All right, here we go.
And then Hunter came from wherever he was and come down here and was standing here. I don't want to get all wet, but
Yeah.
he was like standing here and someone was out a little bit further. They were pretty far apart from like me and your wife is.
Okay. Is that the TikTok video you took?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you can see how far they were apart.
Yeah, I can see it, right.
And with him sitting there saying that she fell on a rock, there's no rock. Where do you see a rock?
Right. Yeah, the only rocks I saw were right over here.
Yeah,
and then up there.
Yeah, they're way over there, and I'm right here.
Okay. So this is where she is, though.
Yeah, this is where she is, right here.
Okay. And how is she? What's her behavior?
She's jumping around, splashing, having a good time,
Summer.
just like Summer would always do.
Okay.
I mean, that's how all my kids are.
Okay.
They just splash around and have a good time.
Does she go underwater at any time that you see?
Oh, she just dips her head in, but sticks it right back up. I mean, it was only up to here
So
at the time.
where did this idea of under the water, where's that come from? Okay.
That just blew my...
Yeah, and I know you would include adoptive mothers too. I mean, even adoptive parents would respond the same way biological parents would respond. When you say mama bear, I saw, just a little comment, but yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're still in step with all of that because
Correct.
that's just that love is unconditional. And, when you're in a stressful situation like this, she's given us a lot of information here. Yeah. Yes. Steve.
Yes. And I agree with you too. And I don't mean to leave any adoptive mothers out. Yeah. Mothers have this innate instinct for caring and nurturing, and it's very easy for them to take in other kids and treat them just as if they were their biological kids. And so I'm just saying, this is not, I guess my point is that this is not like she's just daddy's girlfriend or anything like that. Yeah. She is biological mother. And so.
Yeah. And family, I mean, grandmas, aunts, I mean, I tell people all the time, they slapped my mother when I was born, and, they rolled me over and they told her she had twins. So I went through that my whole life. But, that said, I'm standing there thinking, wow, I'm not seeing a lot of connection here. And I love how you're making that, really emphasizing that principle, how important, that mother's love is just seems a little bit absent. And I don't think that's through any emotional development. I think it literally is a detachment, going on here in its totality. But, give Steve some thumbs up, by the way, folks, and throw in where you're at as we keep moving here. Because this guy, if you've just joined with us, Steve, we've got almost 6,000 people in this chat right now. And if you have not gone over to Steve's channel, it's down at the bottom, bottom of my channel, one of the channels that I highlight. Please hit that subscribe button over there. And if you could hit our subscribe button, we would greatly appreciate that also over here in the TIR family. And mods, I can't slow the chat down for some reason. D-Man can't get into the back room over there. There's something going on. So I apologize if it's going at 150 miles an hour. But if you're just joining us, we've got Steve Johnson from Truth2Lies. He trains law enforcement all over not only the United States, but internationally he's a forensic statement profiler and analyst. This is what he does, and you're lucky to be here. So that's his website coming across the ticker there. At the end of this, get over there and see what he's got. You won't be disappointed, trust me. Let's keep moving. What do you think, Steve?
Yeah,
My mind when I heard that, I was like, she didn't even go into, because when she was playing in the water, I was literally taking the TikTok video just to watch, you know, and I did different things because that's how TikTok is. You can do different things with them.
Right.
And I was just taking TikTok video, and he come up out of there somewhere, and I was like, just splashed around, and then he threw up gang signs.
Do you know them?
No, I have no idea who that is.
Okay.
And then he started throwing up gang signs, and I'm like, so I moved it back away from him as quick as I could.
What relevance is that?
You know what? I would expect to hear what she was filming, what made her want to take that TikTok video. Summer was doing this. It was so cute. I just had to catch the moment. Summer this, summer that. And I'm not sure that I heard Summer's name even mentioned in that it was Candus mentioned referenced herself. I was taking TikTok video, and then she mentions Hunter. I'm not sure she even mentioned Summer's name. I could be wrong.
Let's go back. Let me back it up for a second. A couple of seconds. What do you think? I mean,
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Just to watch, you know, and I did different things because that's.
Let me back it up here another second. Okay.
Yeah,
And then up there.
Yeah, they're way over there, and I'm right here.
Okay. So this is where she is, though.
Yeah, this is where she is, right here.
Okay. And how is she? What's her behavior?
She's jumping around, splashing, having a good
just
time,
Summer.
just like Summer would always do.
Okay.
I mean, that's how all my kids are.
Okay.
They just splash around and have a good time.
Does she go underwater?
Okay, I mentioned Summer.
You did. Yeah, you mentioned Summer.
Right.
She never mentioned her name, but you asked her what she was doing.
Yep.
And again, she normalized this, and I don't like to hear that. She said she was doing what she would always do. I mean, she said she was jumping around, playing. She was doing what she would always do. Why tell you what she normally does? That's an indication that she has, it's a need to persuade that that's what Summer was doing. In other words, this is what she normally does, so you should believe me that that's what she was doing that day.
Well, that's interesting. I didn't catch that till just now, till you said that.
It's quick. Yeah. It goes by quick.
Interesting. What else? I interrupted. Anything else on that?
No, that was huge. That's a big deal right there.
Okay, so let's put a red flag. Let's put some more red flags up, because I think you have at least 7 or 8 so far.
Something like that, yeah.
Just at least in this interview here. Okay, I'm going to keep moving.
Water at any time that you see?
Oh, she just dips her head in, but sticks it right back up. I mean, it was only up to here
So
at the time.
where did this idea of under the water?
Yeah, you're right. She did not say Summer. I said it, and then she dovetailed into it, and then she didn't say it. She didn't say her name again.
Right. But she'll mention Hunter. She'll not mention him by name.
Interesting.
But anyway, it's
with the gang signs. Yeah, very interesting.
Where's that come from? Okay.
That just blew my mind when I heard that. I was like, she didn't even go into, because when she was playing in the water, I was literally taking the TikTok video just to watch, you know, and I did different things because that's how TikTok is. You can do different things with them.
Right.
And I was just taking TikTok video, and he come up out of there somewhere, and I was like, just splashed around, and then he threw up gang signs.
Do you know them?
No, I have no idea who that is.
Okay.
And then he started throwing up gang signs, and I'm like, so I moved it back away from him as quick as I could, and I was videoing them flowers, and then back at Summer again real quick. And then he decided to get in the water right there.
Yeah, back at Hunter. And this is where she's going to tell us that he splashed her.
And he went like this with the water a couple times. I told him, please stop that. She don't like to be splashed.
Okay.
And so he quit and got out. And I said, come on, Summer, we got to go get Grandma's prescription. And we just got back in the truck and left.
Okay.
Chris, you notice how much detail she gave to Hunter's actions all the things that Hunter was doing. He was throwing up the gang signs. He was splashing Summer, whatever else it was, detail after detail of what Hunter was doing. What was Summer doing? And I'll back up a little bit more. This TikTok video that she was taking, she gave another reason for taking that video, because that's what I do, or something like that. Another unnecessary explanation as to why she's taking that video. And yet there's no mention of Summer. What's going on that makes that video so important, so cute? What, as a mother, what Summer's doing, it's just so wrong that there's no mention of her sweet little girl.
Yeah, she went through that whole narrative and focused more on Hunter, to your point, than she did her little girl in the water, other than saying that she doesn't like to be splashed.
Correct.
Interesting.
And that was directed towards Hunter. But yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
So a lot has been said about the tea thing, right? And there's Can over there and stuff. Now I asked Hunter,
when we come down
tell me
here,
the story on that.
This place was littered in trash.
Okay.
It was all trash down here. Like, them teas were all over through there, all through everywhere.
Okay.
There was flowers that my mom wanted to pick from here, and I said, Mom, you better not do that. It's a state park. You get in trouble for that if you get caught.
Okay.
I'm not getting caught for that.
Okay.
And I told her that, and we just walked on back to the truck. But I don't know where that iced tea coming from. I know that I did buy an iced tea.
Okay.
From the smoke shop in town, but I bought that iced tea from my mother.
Okay. Okay.
And if she was here today, she would tell you that.
Right. Right.
And the vapes that I bought were nicotine vapes from the hippie house.
Next door.
Right, next door.
Okay.
Well, no, they're kind of, one's further down by the mall. The smoke shop's further down by the mall where I got the iced tea. And the hippie house is just right over here before you crossed over the bridge.
Got it. Okay. So the smoke shop where you bought the
we went to the hospital.
Right.
And picked up my mom.
Right.
And then we stopped at the smoke shop and I got Mom that twisted tea that she wanted. And then I stopped at the hippie house and got me some smoked nicotine vapes, is what I got.
Okay. What flavor?
I think they were Skittles.
Okay.
Because that's kind of like.
Wait, do they have like a different flavor?
They actually taste like Skittles.
Okay.
It's the only kind I'll buy.
Okay.
And then we left from there and we went straight down to Walgreens and went to the drive-thru. But after we were done at the hippie house, I think we bought 3 of them, I think. I believe. And I set them right there on the council. And
now, yeah, she's qualifying what Hunter had told me. She obviously had a chance to see it.
Right.
And so, yeah, this is your point earlier. Anything jumping at you hearing that so far?
No, I'm glad you stopped and mentioned that, because this is part of the contamination. And so she, just like you said, she is responding to what Hunter previously said. And the only other point that I would have right here is what she's going to state here in 2 seconds.
he asked for one. I said, no, you can't have none.
Did he take one?
I don't know.
Okay.
Honest to God, I don't know.
Okay.
But then we went to the wall.
I'm pretty sure she knows that Hunter likely took one, or she gave him one, because she only bought 3. She says, how do you know if one of 3 wasn't taken? I mean, you know, but the way that she phrased that is that when she has to say, I honestly don't, she could have just said, I don't know. I honestly don't know. And Chris, you and I both know from being in thousands of interviews, when they speak like that, I honestly don't know, or I swear to God, I don't know. That just tells us that you likely know. They have to, it's calling in the reinforcements. And when you have to call in reinforcements, it's a clear indication that it didn't actually occur that way. So
Yeah, I loved your analysis of Lori Vallow, and you had been pegged so many of those kind of points, and yeah, I mean, listening to her, I love how you called it calling in reinforcements. Uh,
Yeah,
I love it.
calling in backup.
Yeah, verbal reinforcements, right? Verbal
Yeah,
reinforcements. Okay, do you want me to keep moving?
yeah. Let's go.
All right, bud.
Walgreens and dropped off mom's prescription. I said, well, if we got to wait 30 minutes, why don't we just bring Summer down here and let her play for a little bit?
Okay.
And that's what we did.
Okay.
I mean, there was nothing. I honestly didn't see him drink nothing down here. I don't know what he's talking about. I really don't.
All right. So it's your word against his, basically.
Pretty much.
Okay. On.
Yeah, same right there. That's just what we were talking about. So
Yep. Yeah.
and that again, I mean, being that she's restated it, just backs it up. It just confirms it what I was saying before.
Yeah. So is there terminology for that double up like that that you guys use, or is it just the fact that she's hitting that nail one more time just to make sure that
Yeah, it's just that it's just repeated language. Anything that's repeated is highly sensitive, and so she's repeated it at least twice now. And the more that she repeats it, the more we realize this it likely is just the opposite of what she is trying to make you believe. Is likely just the opposite of that. Why the need to persuade you by repeating this over and over and over? This is something that we would see a lot of people can relate to this. It's like in the hashtag Me Too movement, when you would hear someone, usually a politician or somebody, come out and start speaking about the ills of sexual abuse or beating women or whatever it was, and they would speak about it over and over and over, and you're thinking, well, who really thinks that this is okay? I mean, why are you speaking out about something so vehemently when there's really no reason to do it? We all agree with that. But so those are the guys that we'd find out later on were the ones that were abusing or beating the women, and they're the ones that would go down. And so it's just kind of the same thing here. It's not, I mean, not the same, but it's very similar. When she repeats this, and she's trying to emphasize it to you when it really doesn't need to be emphasized, and it's really superfluous information. It just tells us, and it has nothing to do with Summer. This is superfluous, and it's part of the contamination. But since we're on it, it just tells you that, yeah, she likely knows that he took one, and I mean, who cares? But that's what we're seeing here. Is this deception in action right here?
This scenario right
Yes.
here. Okay, so from here, where do you guys go?
Walgreens to pick up my mom's prescription.
Okay, is that the Walgreens right down at the
Yeah,
edge
it's right
here?
straight across.
It's the one that I showed the other day that it's right down here?
Yeah, when we turn to come down here,
Yeah.
it's right there on the corner.
Okay, you get mom's prescription.
Yep.
Then what happens?
Then I told mom, I said, why don't we get a Sonic?
Okay,
Because it's hot out.
right.
So we drove in there, got a Sonic.
Right across the street.
Yep, right across the street.
Okay.
And then we left from there, and I went up Moreland Drive because I had to pick up a few things. I was in the store for maybe 5 minutes.
Okay,
Grabbed some milk and some cheese, and I don't remember what else I bought.
okay. And that's the foodless?
No, priceless.
Priceless, okay.
Yes.
All right.
And then I was like, Hunter, you're not coming to the house. I'm sorry to tell you, but you're going back to your house.
okay, what's that relevance? Right to Hunter.
So again, I'm going to go back to more detail about Hunter and not about Summer. So I'm asking myself, why the focus and all this little detail and conversation? I mean, she's even quoting conversation here with Hunter and what she said to him. And so she's avoiding, number one, speaking about Summer, whatever's going on with Summer, and focusing on that. And there's also something now leading up to this thing with Hunter going back home, and that she wants, it's a kind of a teaser, if you will, that she wants to get rid of Hunter, and maybe that's too harsh a language, but she doesn't want Hunter to be there. So I don't know where that came from, but it's a teaser to what's coming up, that she doesn't want Hunter to be there.
Fascinating.
Okay.
And I took him back to his house and dropped him off and left. And Summer was still awake when I left his house.
Okay.
Okay, hold up. So that right there, that's highly sensitive language, and most people aren't going to catch that. They won't know what to listen for there. But she's actually, her brain has paused right there at this point in time, rather than moving forward. And this is going to be withheld information. And unless she is in some kind of big hurry to get out of there, it's critically withheld information. She said, I dropped Hunter off, and I'm kind of paraphrasing here. I dropped Hunter off and I left. Instead of just saying, I dropped Hunter off and I went home, or I took Mom and Summer home, or whatever it is, and moving forward, she says, I left. And what that does is it stops everything right there. It tells me that her brain has stopped right there instead of moving forward. And she doubled up on it. And she said it again. I don't remember the exact words. I'm going to have to go back just a second or two. But she says it again, that I left.
Let's go back for a second. You take just a couple seconds.
Priceless. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And then I was like, Hunter, you're not coming to the house. I'm sorry to tell you, but you're going back to your house.
Okay.
And I took him back to his house and dropped him off and left. And Summer was still awake when I left his house.
Okay.
So right there, she used that twice. And people that have been in my training will understand this, how significant this is. This is actually very a high level of sensitivity, and that meaning that she is not only skipping over information here, Chris, but this is critical information that she's skipping over. There's something that has occurred that she does not want to tell us, and we recognize it in her reference to pausing at that point of dropping Hunter off. She says, I left, rather than her brain moving forward. And so we just know that there's critically withheld information at that point in time. I don't know what it is, but it has to do. She just moved very quickly from the waterhole. She made a few stops, and she didn't talk a whole lot about that. Getting the milk, slushies, that's Sonic, and I think the prescription, wasn't it? And then she goes into more detail, quoting what she told Hunter. Hunter, I'm sorry to tell you, but I'm going to drop you off. You're not coming to my house. And I dropped him off and I left. And she lets us know, for whatever reason, it's real important for her to tell us. And Summer was still awake when I left. Now, I think that is part of the contamination.
Yep.
I think she's answering questions that have arisen, or statements that have been made about Summer being asleep or deceased or whatever at that point in time, and she's answering that. So that's contaminated, and we have to take that into consideration here, and not give it as much credibility at that little part of that statement. But regardless of that, there's still critical information that she's wanting to skip over at this point.
Yeah, that was almost like a fast track. Quickly get past this, drop it, make a bomb run. Good.
Right.
I'm going to keep moving.
Okay.
And Allie did never walk to the truck and try to talk to me, or
Okay.
I tried to get her to come over and talk to me, but she wouldn't.
Okay. Where does from here when you?
So that's a conflicting statement. Allie said, she could see Summer in the back, and now she's saying no, that never happened. And now there's a lot of speculation and conversation. Did she ever go to the truck, to see her, that kind of stuff, right? So I put that one in the the question mark category, right? What's the relevance of that in totality? Unless, to your point a second ago, something's already going on with the baby potentially at this point, because she's making that reference. No, Summer was awake in that.
Correct.
Yeah. So
Summer's awake, and again, she's speaking to the contamination, meaning that she's speaking to statements or allegations that have been made against her that she's heard previously from either your previous interview or others. But that's what she's answering here. So we have to take that in consideration.
Left here, okay, and you went to Sonic, like you mentioned. What flavors do you buy? Do you remember?
I think I got me and Mom a grape.
Is that your favorite?
My mom.
Is that your favorite?
That's my favorite. I don't remember what Mom got. She got it's like a cool water or something like that.
Okay.
And then Hunter, I think, wanted the blue one, I think.
Okay, is that the slushy?
Yeah.
Okay.
The slushies. I don't really.
Did you buy food?
Nope.
Just the slushies?
Just the slushies.
Okay, then what happened?
And then we left from there, went to Priceless, and I wasn't even in there 5 minutes.
Okay.
Grabbed my milk, come right back out the door, and he was sitting there playing on TikTok like he always does.
Okay.
I mean, and then for him to sit there and say that he doesn't even make TikToks, I have on my phone personally, I can show you where he's made TikToks.
Okay.
Honest to God.
I hope you've given it to the officials, right?
No, actually, it's still on my phone. I haven't had a chance because I was going to talk to them Tuesday when I went back to town.
Okay,
I got some business I got to take care of.
Yeah, just by convenience, right? My daughter's missing. I've got TikToks, and I haven't turned them over to the authorities. I'm not going to get in the weeds on that. We can do that another time. But what say you, if anything, on that?
Yeah, no, I agree with where you're going on that, and that if there's anything there, especially if she has something regarding Hunter's TikToks and Hunter's obviously a key interview in this, a key witness, if you will, to the events of this day that Summer disappeared, then you would turn everything over, especially when the investigators are asking you about your phones. What's on your phones? Now this is 4 weeks later, and she still has a phone, and I know that investigators have asked for their phones up to this point. I don't know if they voluntarily gave them or they got court orders and took the phones or what the case is, but still, if she has a phone at this point that she had prior to and up to the day that Summer disappeared, that should be in the hands of the investigators. And so it tells me that there's something that she wants to withhold, and it's just it's wrong. It's wrong.
Yeah, we don't know if she turned maybe a burner phone over to the authorities and kept the other one. So,
Yeah.
And yeah, there's a program, guys, if you're just joining us, that you can download all that data. It's from a company called Celebrite. It's not a secret, but there's a lot that we could get into. We're not going to get in the weeds on that stuff, but that could be critical. So let's keep moving there. And thank you all for being here. There's I got 6,500 of you here in chat. We're grateful for that. Please hit that subscribe button on my channel as well as over at Steve's. At the bottom of my channel, I have Steve's channel that you can click on later on and subscribe to him over there too as well. Okay, so here we go.
Got it, roger that. So from there, you go back to Hunter's house.
I drop him off.
Explain the milk. The picture of
the milk, it was sitting right there beside Summer.
Okay.
Because when I handed it to Hunter in the car, he was on the outside. Oh. I said, Hunter, put this on the other side of Summer. I just set it over there.
Okay.
And she was wide awake sitting up.
Okay.
Like, she didn't go to sleep until after we left town.
Did she change clothes?
Yeah, I changed her clothes because...
Go ahead.
So, I don't know what the sensitivity is to her regarding this milk, but she just went into great length to explain why that milk was sitting next to Summer, or why Summer was next to the milk. she went into great explanation on that because Hunter was sitting in a certain place. And so I don't remember the exact wording, but that took a lot of effort. And I think she gave a couple different reasons as to why things happened within that short amount of time there that she was explaining all this. That shows me that there is a very high sensitivity regarding that milk, and I don't know what it is in her brain that there is such sensitivity. I'm not sure if it's from contamination or not. I don't know. All I can say is that huge sensitivity regarding where the location of that milk and Summer being next to it.
Yeah, there's a critical point to that, isn't there?
There is.
Yeah, I agree 1,000%.
When I have the windows down, it could be 100 degrees. I'll have all the windows on. Roll up the window, Mommy, I'm cold. And she not be cold, but I still do it.
Is that part of Summer's
That's
personality?
just Summer.
Tell me about Summer.
Tell you about.
I want to know about Summer.
She's a.
Okay, so full disclosure here, when I asked that question, I think this was the first time I think I got in the vein. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think you'll see an emotional shift in her, and I'm curious as to what your thoughts are.
Happy little girl.
Okay.
She's the best little girl anybody could imagine. Just like, well, I don't really want to say her name.
Yeah, don't say her name.
But, you know, happy-go-lucky. Nothing ever brings her down hardly.
Mm-hmm. Today's a tough day for you, I can tell.
Yeah, it's really tough. It's been tough lately.
Tell me about that.
Well, every time I look around, I see her face.
Okay.
I don't know what else I can tell you.
Well, help me understand when you went home. Tell me about those dynamics that day. Take me back to that day. Yeah, on the way home.
On the way home, well, we were just sitting there talking, me and Mom, about everything pretty much. Trees, flowers, rocks. Whatever Mom likes, you know, pretty much we talk about. And I was like, what's Summer doing? She's like, oh, she fell asleep. I was like, oh, how's she sleeping?
Yep.
I don't know about you, but did it strike you odd that, I mean, especially being there in person, when you said, I'm glad you asked, tell me about Summer. And man, I would expect that you wouldn't be able to get her to shut up about Summer. And she gave you a few little things. She was the best little girl. And I kind of liked, I liked how she seemed genuinely endeared to Summer. She's the best little girl ever. And that's a good thing. And I believe her. I think that Summer was generally a great little girl, and she loved her, and you know, I like that emotion that she had right there. But she wanted to cut it off. She instead of continuing to speak about Summer and how great a little girl and what she does and her fondest memories of Summer and those last moments with Summer, and the things that she misses about Summer, she just cut it off. I don't know what else I can tell you. It's just like, are you kidding me? Any parent can say way more about their kids than that, and so that was a conflict with me. That took me by surprise, because what I'm expecting is her to keep going. And then she says, I don't know what else I can tell you. And that took me back. And so unexpected tells me that she's, for whatever reason, she does not want to speak about, she's in the moment, she's there at the waterhole, you're asking her about, you know, the context surrounding this, about the events of that day. And she can't speak about Summer. For whatever reason, she doesn't want to go there. There's an argument that it could be that, well, it's too painful, you know, to speak about Summer. But I mean, I take that into consideration. But man, it just really took me back that there should be much more to say about her sweet little baby that's missing right now.
Yeah, no, and I'm going to dovetail into your thought where she went right to the TikTok conversation, or she was setting it up for the TikTok video in the car, where, her leaning against the melt. But even right after this, she did go a little bit deeper, not about Summer, but about herself and what she said. And she sat down and she was crying. I thought genuinely she was crying. In fact, I think if this would have been an interview room, there would have been a lot more information coming out. But at this particular juncture here, she shifts it right from the TikTok and the car and stuff, and then we cut it out because actually Karen turned off the camera because it really was a moment for her to process what was going on, but it wasn't about a moment for Summer.
Mm.
It was, I feel that God is coming down on me, quote unquote. Okay. And, now I've not shared that with anybody, that verbiage, until you, okay, because obviously I wanted you to hear it first. But it was, you know where I'm going. I mean, it was,
Right.
I think if we were in a controlled environment, that, she would have given something up. Go ahead.
Yeah, that with that kind of language, that's exactly what we look for or what we hope for. And with that breakdown and if she was legitimately sad and her crying, because we've been in interviews where they're crying, but it's not the real thing. There's no tears and there's no mucus and whatever, and you can tell it's feigned, but and you recognize it. She's legitimately feeling bad, and I don't doubt that she's missing Summer and she's feeling bad that for whatever occurred that day. Personally, I think there was some kind of accident, and so that's probably what it is. But that language, she feels like God's coming down on her or gonna come down on her, whatever it was. That right there is.
She said, I feel like God's coming down on me.
Well, there's only one reason that God comes down on you, that someone would voice that type of thing. And that's when God knows what you've done or what happened or what you're withholding. And it's you and I both know that when people are at that point, that's the door open. What she's looking for, what she needs is a relief. She needs to get that off her back. She still does. And I hope that whatever it is that's making her feel like God's coming down on her, she needs to get that off her chest and do the right thing. Otherwise, that is a canker that is going to just fester until it's going to be destructive. And it's going to create all kinds of issues, health-wise and emotion and spiritually and all kinds of things. It is a canker that cankers us physiologically, mind and body. Yeah. And you and I have seen when people finally relieve themselves of that burden, there is just this, you can see it, that there is this, it's finally off of me. It's gone. Thank goodness. And just let me just turn this over to God. Yeah. And I'm going to be at his mercy and let him handle it, because I know that he is all merciful, and it's just a wonderful thing when they do that. And I think that's what needs to happen here.
Yeah. And I stepped away from it internally because obviously it's an active investigation, and, I mean, I think, I saw somebody say, well, how did I miss that? Well, I didn't miss it. I just talked about it. And the point being, though, what I wasn't doing is trying to get her to confess. I'm to this day still looking for Summer, and information is that now, because had she said, whatever, this, that, or that, something else, and it was a full confession, of course, I would have listened and treated her with the same respect that I treated anybody that's confessed to me. But where I'm going with this is the fact that she still was holding information. I knew this, long before she ever got on the Dr. Phil. I knew at the waterhole, okay, there's more going on here. And this is why we took it to the house to kind of get an idea of what summer was like. So I don't want to get in the weeds. We got a lot more coming, obviously. So let's keep moving.
And when I look back, because I'm driving, and I look back like this, she had her arms up like this, like her daddy sleeps all the time.
Okay.
So I wanted to catch that moment.
Okay.
It's just things I do.
Right.
And I was like, here, Mom, hurry up, take that picture. And then she accidentally hit the video record instead of the picture part.
Okay.
So like, did you catch it? She's like, F, no, I accidentally hit the video part.
That's what you get for handing Grandma the camera.
Yeah, well, I was driving though.
Okay.
And I was like, did she put her arm back down? She's like, yeah. I was like, dang.
Now, see, to me, this made no sense because, Summer's asleep in the car and she wants to see or memorialize how Don sleeps, with his hand up over his head. That was beyond a $25 bingo card for me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
But I let her run.
Right. No, you need to. Right.
Yeah, just let her run. Did you want to say anything on that or keep moving?
Not at this point. Just move up a little bit. And
then she got a picture of her, but by that time her arm was down. But her arm was up most of the time like this.
Right.
And we were like 2 minutes from the house when she took her arm down.
Okay.
And then when we got to the house, we unlocked the gate, went up, and I woke her up. She got up, I unbuckled her, she got out of the car. We went and grabbed the boys from the house to come help us with the groceries.
Yep.
Because I always have them come help me do something.
And now, who was home when you got home?
My 3 sons.
Okay. And how old's your oldest?
He'll be 13 in September.
Okay. So was he babysitting?
Well, technically they weren't really. They were watching TV and sleeping at the same time.
Okay.
And I was just going to run out for a second, and we never even planned. I didn't even plan for Hunter to even be with us that day at all.
Got it.
He just called and was like, want to come over for a second? I was like, yeah, I'll come over for a second, but I got to get right back to Mom. And that was all it was a quick second thing.
Got it.
And he's like, Mom, can I go with them? I'm like sitting there shaking my head like this, and I was like, I don't care. So I'm just like, okay, whatever.
Okay.
I didn't even think nothing of it. You know what I'm saying? I always take them kids. Every time they call me and ask me, come get me, I always come get them because their mom don't do nothing.
So she leaves and goes back to Hunter in her head. What say you?
So I found that really interesting that she shifted to Hunter and gave more detail about the conversation and the context of Hunter. She spoke very little about Summer, just that they went up and I don't remember the exact phrase, but she opened the door, unbuckled her seatbelt, and got her out of the car. And that's basically it as far as Summer goes, but a lot of detail with Hunter. Now, the other thing here is that she said something that's significant that we often hear from people when something has happened that makes them feel like they are not a good person. In other words, when they've done something wrong, they have this need, because part of human nature also is that we want to be seen in the best light. And if we don't feel like we are seen in that light, or we know that we've done something wrong, and psychologically we have this need to build ourselves up. So what she did here is what I call a good gal statement, the good guy statement. She told you, I always take them kids everywhere, because their mama don't do anything for them, so I always do it. She's telling us that she is this nurturing person, that she's this nurturing mama to the other kids, she's denigrating Allie for sure. They have this beef, so I get it. But the point is that she's making herself out to be this nurturing, loving person to Hunter and his siblings, and which makes her a good mama. And why would she even have the need? Why didn't she just say, yeah, Hunter came with us. He asked if he could come with us. And so his mom said yes. And so he came with us, and just leave it at that. But it took a lot of extra effort, time, cognitive energy to put in the phrase that I'm such a good person. I took those kids with me. I always take them with me because, again, another reason why she always does it, their mama doesn't do anything with them. And she's building herself up. Chris, I can't tell you how many times I've heard that language when people have done something or something has happened that they know is wrong, and they're withholding that it's happened, and they have this need to psychologically bolster themselves, and so they will use some type of phrase like this that makes them the good mom, the good person, the good guy, the hero, something like that they're building themselves up. And when in reality, most people won't do that. You just don't hear that. But you do hear it mostly from people that have a need to rehab themselves.
Yeah, interesting. So we're also, she, just kind of, I'm going to go up here to about the 23-ish, where she says washed our hands. She's going to kind of run us through.
Okay.
She just sits there.
That seems to be the difference between you and Allie. You guys have a difference in terms of what you say you do and what she says she does, right? There's always that. It seems to be a conflict.
Conflict somewhere.
Yeah. So, yeah, go ahead. Finish your thought.
But I'm always taking the kids like it was, I want to say like 3-4 months ago. I went over to Allie's and I asked Allie if she wanted her and the kids wanted to go up to, I want to call it Ducktown, because that's where we planned on going, was Ducktown. And she's like, no, I'm going to sleep, and blah, blah, blah. We're like, all right. And Hunter's like, well, can I go? And Allie's like, yeah, go ahead. So we took him up to Ducktown with us and stuff, and brought him back, and everything was fine. I thought we were good friends, but I guess she's trying to get back at me for some reason. I don't know.
Those are reasons that
they're beyond me.
Yeah.
It blows my mind.
And you know what? That's not for me, right? That's let the authorities figure that out. You know what I mean? That's why I didn't really want to do an interview, because I'm not trying to fight this, right.
Her say something, then I say something. Right. I'm not into all that game.
I'm here to help find your daughter.
I want to find Summer. I don't even care about anybody else's bullcrap. I want to find my daughter.
I do too. Okay.
That's all this matters to me.
I totally agree. I totally agree that I'm on that same page with you. All these people, I'm sure, are on the exact same page as well. I think you know that, right?
Yeah.
So walk me through when you got home.
Okay.
You unload the grocery. What exactly is going down there?
Well, I bring my kids out, and we all unload the groceries, but we all go in my house first because we sort out my mom's groceries from her groceries.
Okay.
We always do.
Yeah.
And we did that, and Mom walked back across, and me and Summer were putting groceries away, and watching TV off and on, and just chilling with the boys, hanging out, and then we decided to do some laundry, because laundry, my kids, they got 80 pairs of pants, 80 pairs, each one of them.
Okay.
So, doing laundry at my house is like
a job, right?
It's a job.
Right. Do you have a bulldozer?
No. Sometimes I wish I did.
Okay.
No, that's just joking.
Got it. That's okay.
But
You're doing laundry.
Doing laundry and stuff, and kids are all sitting there watching TV, chilling. And I stepped down, and I noticed Mom was sitting on the step, and her step is like literally from here to that tree, from my doorstep.
Okay.
I can literally walk over and be right there.
Okay.
And she's like looking around, like, what's your problem? She's like, we got to get these plants transplanted into bigger pots.
Okay.
And she's
Now
like,
you're
Well, it looks like we lost Chris again. So much for his service and his 5G and wherever he's at. Looks like it's not good service. What we're hearing from Candus right here is she's leading up to she's describing the events at the house, and she's leading up to her being outside. Hey, Dill.
Hey everyone. Hey Steve.
We don't know what happened.
No, I guess the service keeps going out wherever he's at. We're
All right, so,
we're trying to get him back in here.
okay.
If you wanna keep going with what you got, I'm just here for
All
support.
right, sounds good. So hey Dill, can you play the video?
I can't from here. No, it was connected to his end. So once he dropped
So
off,
let me just keep going with my observations then right there.
Sure.
So Candus, she's building up to this this situation of being outside, and this is a very critical moment, because this is the time that that Summer disappeared. And so what she has to say about this point in time is obviously critical to the case. And there's probably most of you that are here listening have heard this interview before, a couple different times, probably during the first time that he aired it, and then during Chris's analysis of what happened. And what we expect from Candus is to be reliving this in a very concise and simple and matter-of-fact way, and also have this linguistic disposition towards Summer that is very endearing. And so we're on high alert for this endearing perspective from Candus. Now, Candus, if what you just heard is that she's going to give you a reason for being outside, and she's going to double up on that reason for being outside with planting flowers and things like that. So that's coming up. So Dillan, is there any chance that we're going to get this back, or are we going to have to continue this another time?
Yep, we're gonna get it back. We're working on it right now. Yep. Thank you everyone for your patience. There's some comments saying I look stressed. I'm not stressed at all. We're chilling. We're getting this back up. This is not a very rare occurrence at all. So we're working on it. So thank you everyone. Thank you Steve for staying here while Chris is down and out. We're bringing him back though. Oh, hang on. I'm getting a call from him right now.
if we can't get Chris back, we'll just do it.
I just got a phone call from him. He's getting back on. He's rebooting his stuff here, so
Okay.
we should be getting on. Someone says, was your dad picked up by aliens? Probably not. We're gonna hope not here. Someone said Dylan has his dad's hair. Oh, that's so funny. These are great. Thank you everyone for once again continuing to be here. Mini McFluff. I've got the fluff. We're fluffy here. We're good. Let's see. I'm gonna read the chat here. We're looking through. Someone said, "Can I ask Steve, do you think your demeanor would have changed if Chris had another detective with him that day, in your opinion?"
It's always talking with any of law enforcement officials is always a little stressful by nature. And so when you're speaking with someone that doesn't have law enforcement, a badge and a gun, then your stress level is way down. But if they have a badge and a gun, stress level goes way up, so the demeanor probably would change. Hi, Chris.
Hey, Steve. What did I miss? And did you guys get through the rest of the video? For some reason, my Wi-Fi dropped again.
No, Dillan couldn't play the video. I said that's connected through you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you need to just put that back in there.
I'll tee it back up. I want to get to towards the end here, Steve, because I know we're running late, and I promised I wouldn't run you too long. But so far I've had a couple of Wi-Fi issues, so I'm going to count that in my favor.
Right on.
Okay, hang on. So let me get it back up here real fast.
I'm Chris McDonough.
The yellow and black scaffolding. My heart, I believe, makes no sense. Summer, are you down there? And she didn't answer me. So I ran down the stairs pretty much. I was free. And she walked in there, and there's a scaffolding that we have for steps. The yellow and black scaffolding we have for steps. And so we did that, and I don't know, it took us a while. Probably 30, 40 minutes, 50 minutes, I don't know. We're not real fast people. We don't.
Okay. Your Tennessee time.
Yeah,
Just sitting on a porch,
chilling.
Drinking some sweet tea and just.
I don't drink tea. But
okay, but chatting around.
Yeah, just chatting pretty much. Me and Mom drink Mountain Dew.
Okay.
That's what we do. We drink Mountain Dew.
Yep.
And the summer we got done. We washed our hands real quick. Went in.
Yeah, what's that mean?
So what she's doing is she, out of all the things she could say, she chose to tell us that she washed her hands real quick, or we washed our hands real quick. So she referenced washing, and in the grand scheme of things, washing your hands is something that we all might do, but we don't stop to mention that we took a shower, or we washed our hands, or brushed our teeth, or these mundane things like that. And because she referenced that she washed her hands, this most often when I hear it relates to a cleansing of sorts. And in other contexts, it could be related to sex abuse. I don't think that is the case here, and that's another lesson. But it's a cleansing, and I've heard it in all kinds of cases, from burglaries to domestic homicides to you name it. I hear this language of cleansing, and so she chose to say that she stopped to say that she washed her hands, and so I'm on alert. What are you cleansing yourself of? There's something, and it relates to this significant point in time, and we have to remember this is a very significant point in this whole thing. This is when Summer disappeared.
Yeah.
Why does she have this need to cleanse at this point in time? Psychologically, she's cleansing. So high alert. Red flag.
She's not washing her hands because of COVID.
Not COVID, no.
At that point, right. Okay, so let's so I want to get through this, and
Grandma's house, and she asks Grandma for a piece of candy. She always does. Okay. And of course, Grandma gives it to her.
Sure.
Normalization, right?
Like very good. More normalization. She always does. Yep. So it's just, she could have just stuck with, she asked Grandma for some candy and leave it at that. Yeah, why the need to add in, she always does? That's a convincing statement that Summer actually asked Grandma for candy. Why does she need to convince us of that? So now, do you see where I'm going with this?
Yep.
Why does she need to convince us, convince you and the rest of us listening to this, that she knows is going to be listening to it, that Summer was able to ask for candy and that she did it? It just sits wrong. When you understand the language and what's produced, what's in the brain and what's producing this, it's like, we don't want to hear it. We want to hear just endearing, concise, simple language from her, positive linguistic disposition. I don't want to hear any convincing language. Why the need to convince? It's not right.
And she wanted a piece of candy, so Grandma gave it to her. We were sitting there for about, 5-10 minutes maybe at the most. And she was, Mom, I want to go back to the house with my brothers. I was like, all right. So I got up and I walked her back across to where I could literally see her walking to my doorstep.
Okay.
And she
front door, back door?
No, well, I don't know if you want to call it the front door or back door, because I don't really consist which way.
Which door is it? Yeah, in some of the pictures I see, there's a door around the bottom and the back.
Not the basement door. I call it the kitchen door, is what I call it.
Okay.
And she walked in there, and there's a scaffolding that we have for steps. The yellow and black scaffolding we have for steps. Okay. And I put my hand on the scaffolding. I said, boys, watch Summer, I'll be right back. And I had to go over and help Mom. She was still sitting over there. And I had to go and get her knee brace and fix it for her because it was twisted and crap.
Okay.
It took me like 5 minutes, maybe 2 minutes, I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not a time person. Never have been.
Okay.
So what she just did here is she psychologically provided an excuse for going outside and being outside when really there was no need to give us an excuse or an explanation as to why she went outside. It's not needed. She could have just said, I walked Summer into the house and I went outside and helped my mom. Done. But she did not do that. She said, so I got up and I walked her back across to where I could literally see her walking to my doorstep, or something to that effect, rather than saying, and then she said, so she saw her, she watched her walk into the house, and then she later said that she went into the house and told the boys to watch Summer, and she segmented this. Why the need to segment it? She could have just said, I walked Summer into the house, but that didn't happen. So there's a lot going on here. As Chris, you say, a lot of moving parts here, and for whatever reason, her brain is segmenting all these little things, and she has to provide a reason for going outside, and she's not specific about the details about taking Summer in. Her saying, I got up and I walked her back across to where I could literally see her walking to my doorstep. That doesn't tell me that she walked her into the house. It's a convincing statement. That word literally, and that adds to what I'm saying here, that the convincing, it's not saying that I walked her inside. She later says that. So, Chris, this is not working. If I was to do an interview, if I was the detective doing the interview, this is a key area where I would ask for more information, more explanation as to what happened here, because it's not working. There's something very sensitive here, and I can't say what it is, but there's something key here, and the fact that this is on the heels of her normalizing the situation of that's what Summer always does, is ask for candy. That Summer was able to do that at that point in time is what she's telling me. And then the convincing that she actually watched her walk to the door. It tells me that I don't think that she did that. And then she kind of gets confused with the way that she phrased this after that, with about walking into and yelling or telling the boys to watch Summer. It doesn't sit right. She's providing a reason now after that for going outside and being outside, that she had to go out and help mom with her knee brace and everything, when no explanation is necessary yet. That's what she's doing. So key area, very sensitive, red flags. One might ask, well, is this because of the contamination? And I would have to say no, because this is almost identical to the story that she gave the reporter in the very beginning, when she first reported that Summer was missing. And the verbiage has changed just a little bit, but it's basically that same story and that same emphasis. She says, I watched her walk all the way back over there, or I walked her all the way back over there to the door, in that first report with the reporter. And so this is very similar. So I have to take contamination off the table here. And this is just very highly sensitive area.
And next thing I know, I said, Mom, I'm going back over with the kids, chill and hang out, whatever. And I freaking asked her brothers, well, where'd your sister go? She was just right here with you. Oh, she wanted to go play with her toys downstairs, Mom. I said, I think none of them, because that's where our room is, that's where her toys are.
Okay.
And after about a second, I didn't hear nothing down there. I was like, you sure she went downstairs? They're like, yeah, Mom, she went downstairs.
Okay.
And my boys do not lie to me. So I went around.
So again, she's quoting conversation, like I mentioned before.
Yep.
And she's telling us in the negative what her boys don't do. There's a lot of things what her boys don't do, but she says, and my boys don't lie. Why they need to persuade us that her boys actually said that my boys don't lie? That's a sales. She's selling it to you, selling it to all of us that are listening, that her boys actually would say, oh yeah, Mom, Summer went downstairs. That just tells me, oh, that's the sleazy salesman right there technique. And I can't buy it. It leads me to the other direction.
Yeah, I called that buying soggy bread.
There you go. I love that. Buying soggy bread.
Because my stairs, my husband calls it a bar, but it's not really a bar. I call it a mess. We built it over the staircase. I guess you could call it a bar, but it's not really a bar because we don't drink that much. So, but it was like where we put our TV stand, stuff like that. And I walked around because that's where the steps are hidden up underneath there. And I said, Summer. And she didn't answer me. I said, Summer, are you down there? And she didn't answer me. So I ran down the stairs pretty much. I was freaking out. I was like, why is she not answering me? And I looked, I just went, I blew up. I went everywhere looking for her. So I couldn't find her.
You know, the part that caught me on that one, Steve, is I ran down the stairs pretty much.
Good. Yeah, I'm with you there. That takes away from the commitment that that's actually what she did. I ran down the stairs pretty much. And you know, and another point here, Chris, is that she's putting emotion into this, like she's that she's freaking out. She said, I freaked out, when at this point in time, she hasn't even realized that Summer's missing. Okay. It's just that Summer's not answering her. Summer's downstairs and she's not answering her. So she might be getting a little upset, and you could hear that kind of in her language. Summer, you know, like, answer me. But why would you freak out all of a sudden that your daughter's not answering her? You would just go downstairs to see, what is she doing? Why isn't she answering me? But she skipped right to the freak out point. Before she even told us that Summer was missing. And without giving us detail. She skipped over now a lot of detail. And earlier, we don't need to go back to it, but earlier she said, the next thing I know, that's a skip in time. And so again, missing information. And she's skipping right into, I freaked out and I blew up, she says. And now she's going to say very shortly, I went everywhere. It's probably the next sentence that she's going to say. So now what's happening here is she's going to feed us just enough information mixed with a huge emotion. And emotion is the #1 sales technique in the world. And she's hoping that you will just bank on that emotion so that she won't have to give any other detail as to what actually occurred, what she did, that she went down and did she search Summer's room? Did she look under the closet? Did she look under the clothes, look under the bed, whatever the case is, where Summer was hiding? She'd come upstairs and did she look upstairs in all the closets and everything? That's the normal procedure. Didn't do that. So that tells us that didn't happen. And that running down the stairs, pretty much can't buy that either. That didn't happen as well. So big problems with this area right here in her story.
Yeah, and I think she tries to fuse that together when we got to the house, as if it was a bigger deal than what she actually did. I agree with you 100%. I'm going to keep moving though for the sake of time.
Okay. Then what happened?
She was just gone.
Okay.
She was just gone into nowhere. And I started tracing the property, going everywhere I could. I sent my boys down through well, we live on the hill, so it was down by the creek. Okay. I sent them all down through there looking and everything. I said, still didn't find her? And they said no. So I ran over and I freaked out. I called on because that's what I do automatically. I freak out.
Now that's interesting. I couldn't make out if it was the boy. Did anybody find her, or if it's somebody else? Let's listen real fast.
And I started tracing the property, going everywhere I could. I sent my boys down through well, we live on the hill, so it was down by the creek. Okay. I sent them all down through there looking and everything. I said, still didn't find her? And they said no. So I ran over and I called.
So she's, saying to her kids, did you guys find her? Okay. And, remember the narrative on this thing later on turns into a stranger abduction, yet she's sending her kids out to go look for the stranger who took Summer potentially, in their minds, right? Where, seriously, I don't know.
Right.
I that's been another soggy loaf of bread for quite some time for me. The day I did this, actually. Go ahead.
What's interesting about that is that statement that she said. She said she sent her boys down there, and instead of saying that they didn't find her, she skipped that and she went into a quote that she didn't ascribe to herself or anyone else. She said, still didn't find her, as if she was posing the question to them, but she didn't say that she did. And which is interesting because it detracts from the psychological commitment that she said that, or that she sent them down there, or that they looked down there. It detracts from that psychological commitment. And I don't like to hear that. I want to hear strong psychological commitment to looking for Summer at that point in time. And I want to hear more detail. She has skipped a lot of detail, looking around the house, looking out in the yard, in the little nooks and crannies, maybe under the porch or whatever it is, because they live on a hill, anything like that. And she sent them right down to the creek bottoms. And so she's backing away from that psychological commitment. Big problems right there. More red flags.
Love it. That's a fascinating insight.
I freaked out. I called Donnie because that's what I do automatically. I freak out, you know.
You called Don.
I called Donnie. I said, I cannot find Summer. Come home now. He's like, call the cops. So I threw my phone down on the back of his pickup, ran over to my mom, picked up her phone because it's the only one that gets out there is AT&T.
Okay.
So I picked up her phone, I dialed her. I said, I cannot find my daughter. And they sent people out, and I wasn't just going to stand there and wait for them to send people out.
Right.
I jumped in my mom's truck, and I went down the driveway as fast as I could. I went everywhere I could possibly think, every road which way. I didn't see no cars, I didn't see nobody at all. And I was like flipping out. I was a hot mess, so you call it.
Okay.
It's just, it makes no sense. The only thing that can come to my mind is that somebody snuck up there in that yard and took my baby girl.
What are the odds of that?
What are the odds of that?
From your perspective?
It happens all the time, all the way around the world.
I'm not questioning that it happens. I'm just asking you from your perspective, and your property living up there as long as you have, Candus, right? What are the odds that that happened? Take a guess.
50-50.
Okay. What would be the 50% that it didn't happen? What are the other possibilities?
I have no idea.
Okay. Could she have walked away and fallen?
Knowing my daughter?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay, I know you're chomping at the bit.
Yeah. That was a great question you asked her. What are the odds? And if she was committed to, she really thought that somebody came up there and took her. And by the way, you didn't ask her, she volunteered. The only thing I can think of is that somebody came up on that on my property or the property and took her. She volunteered that. That was already in her mind. That's her story. She was ready to give that to you without being asked. And then you ask, what are the odds of that? 50-50. My goodness, that's like saying, I only halfway believe that somebody came up and took her. But yet they are trying to sell that as that's the absolute, that's what happened. But perfect question. She just told you what she really believes. Yeah, that probably didn't happen. Otherwise, it'd be 100%. That's the only thing that could have happened. That's the only thing. That's the only way that she could have disappeared is somebody took her. There's no other way. She just told you that there's a real, very, very good chance that that's not how Summer was taken. That's not what happened to Summer. Something else happened to her. I'm so glad you asked that. And that's just, that right there, Chris, is like, that's the mic drop right there. It's 50-50. My focus has now, all those red flags that I said and then the high sensitivity indicators, I said, I'm willing to take them off the board if later on she gives me a reason to do that. They're all sticking. They are all glued to the board, Chris. There's no talking me out of that. It's her language. She's the one. I believe her. I believe what the brain reveals. And that's what it's revealed, is that she's not buying it, so I'm not buying it. No one should buy it because she's not buying it.
Yeah, and I think as they say, right, it's not my first rodeo. And that was the moment I was thinking, okay, we're here. And but you clarify it so great. And I think this is a good segue into telling people again who you are. I'm with Steve Johnson. He's been in law enforcement. He spent 28 years on a department investigating everything, homicide, you name it. But he also owned, when he retired, he's been training law enforcement both nationally and internationally, and essentially, forensic speech profiling. So, and handwriting analysis. So, we're talking to the real deal here tonight, guys. And there's 6,700 of you here, almost 7,000 in chat tonight. And we ask that you just share this video and hit that thumbs up. button. Steve has a YouTube page that he started. It's down at the bottom of one of the channels that I endorse. Hit that subscribe button over there as well. He's got some really cool stuff over there. He did a deal on a letter that Lori Vallow wrote, and just other stuff that he comes up with. And so, okay, I'm going to ask you. I'm gonna hold it right there because I think we're pretty much through most of it. And if I wouldn't have had these two faults here, I'd only be at 215. So I'm at 235 because I had the other stuff. But I'm sure you filled in the blanks. We're going to go to the obviously from here. I asked her, can we go to the house? And she says, yeah. Would you be interested in coming back and diving into that again for me?
Yeah, sure. Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna let's everybody hold it up here, and I just want to tell you guys, how grateful Steve and I are tonight to keep the chat, classy. We had a couple of things, but this is about Summer Wells. It's not about Chris McDonough. It's not about Steve Johnson. We've been in this game a long time, and we're grateful that you trust us, to come here and to, step back, rewatch this video, analyze, process some things that you're seeing. And so when we get together again, we'd love to hear from you. And it'll be great to see if we can lend a little more light into this dark story and this dark tunnel, and at least bring some sense to Sweet Summer, who just had her 6th birthday. This is not a scenario where Steve and I take lightly, and many others, creators who are seeking the truth. So for that, let's throw a bunch of purple hearts up for Summer. And then, as always, I always give Steve the last word of my guest. And then when he's done, let's jump over into Hawaii, and then I will catch you guys on the next one. Thanks, each and every one of you, our mods. Again, we love you all. We're so grateful for all of you. So, Steve, you have the last word, and then we are going to jump to Hawaii. Are you good with that?
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, bud.
It's my associations with investigators like Chris and the numerous others that I work with that give me the opportunity to stay in the investigation by consulting on cases. There's nothing more gratifying than making a difference that way. And the really neat thing is that it's the techniques that we're teaching in our online course and to our criminal investigators. They're working. They work. You see how the little things that people say make a huge difference, and it really breaks a case open, and it gives you certainty going through with your investigation, and it helps those that are doing the interviews to gain confessions. Since I started opening this up to the public, I've received tremendous response and examples of how people are using it at work, in their business dealings, hiring employment applicants, legal work, you name it. There's all different types of scenarios in the relationships and dating sites and different things. And it's making a huge difference. So there's just nothing more gratifying. And I'll tell you what, what I'm able to teach is not only effective, but it is one of the funnest things ever. And it can be a little addicting because it is so much fun. Not addicting, not in a bad way, but in a good way. That it's just a really fun, fascinating thing to get into when you realize what's really in the language. So I just really appreciate the opportunity to share that knowledge. And for Chris, appreciate you having me on the show and giving me the opportunity to let everybody know that's out there. I spent 20 years in law enforcement without even knowing that anything like this existed. I hope that it did, but I didn't even catch on to it till about the 20-year mark in my career. And boy, what a paradigm shift that was. So anyway, get over to my website, download if you want to be on my email list that you can unsubscribe from at any time. Download that free PDF or subscribe to the email list. I'll let you know when the mini courses are coming out. There's going to be more stuff coming in the future. I'll be posting more on my YouTube channel, little mini things that are going to be, portions of things like this that you're going to find really interesting. If you like this, you're going to like what I'm going to be posting. So I'd really appreciate that. And thanks for the opportunity, Chris. I really appreciate the opportunity to be involved in cases like this. It's very gratifying.
Hard working every day, I'm stressed out 24/7, babe. No timeouts, wish we could fly away. You and I go to our favorite place. Oh yeah, make special memories together. I'll be your company now and forever. I say we fly away. You and me go to our favorite place. Feeling the sun on my face in Hawaii. With you, Hawaii. With you, Hawaii. With you, Hawaii. I need a summer breeze, some fresh air to put my mind at ease. No cares. You wanna come with me? Me and you go to our favorite tree. Are you ready now? We jump on a plane now. We're taking away. Yeah, we're taking away. Don't hesitate now. We're taking away. Yeah, we're taking away. We'll never come down. We're going away. Yeah, we're going away. You and me. Feeling the sun on my face in a while.